Loving it. We live, fam?
We're live.
Live! What up, yo? All right. So we're going to be playing some music, and we're going to be looping some things in. I don't know if anybody saw the live earlier today. But we had a very fun time, Wes and I, cooking up some jams, which sounded very much so like a bembe kind of an energy. We were able to bring all the sounds of the drum together, just the way it does come together when we do our praises of the divinity in our traditional practices of bembe. My name is Obi Ifatunji. For anybody that doesn't already know, Wisconsin actually literally like, around the corner from where we're at right now. So I'm really happy to be here at Washington Park Media Center. Can you hear me okay, Wes?
I can hear you fine, man.
Perfect, man.
Good.
I'm just not sure, what's coming through on the live stream. All right. Get some cookies. Get some cookies. All right. So this is that, am I looking directly at it? Because I can't see myself, but I'm assuming that I'm looking at it. Like if you look up there right now, I'm looking at it. Too loud? Sweet. Love it. Okay.
Can you hear me, Sarah? You got the headphones on? We gotta turn up the
That's what I was saying. Speakers.
Yeah.
You go ahead and check that.
check. Anything on the speaker? Hey, thanks to everybody that's tuning in on the live right now. We're getting a jig.
Okay.
So that's working.
It's delayed. Yeah.
Wait. This is this? Oh, that's that. That's why. Oh, wow. Okay. You also have this one, too. You can also do aux.
I can't. Just kidding.
Can you just come back there once you get it going?
What?
Hold on, I got something to say.
Yo. Obi. Tank. Sarah. Both. Bart Walk. West Vliet. Vliet Street. West Vliet. Vliet Street.
Did we get the echo settled? Are we good? Yeah, man. Okay, I can roll. That's fine. That's fine.
Get
Okay.
things going here. Do you want me to start
Vibe?
the beat going, or you want to just play off
Yeah, I'll play djembe to start with until you're ready to join me. Let me know when you're ready to join me.
Yep. We're just getting things up here quick.
And then yeah, while you guys do that, and actually, might even give us a little bit of a prayer. So I came to this as a young boy. I am a ancestral priest. I'm an Obatala priest, and my mother, my father, both Ifa priests. They started out in the tradition of Shango. So we give praise to our ancestors, the Orisha and Ifa and Olodumare. And we use this music to uplift us. We use this music to connect us. And during this beautiful full moon energy, I like to give praise to Oya, the Orisha who is manifest in the moon. Oya, we gidi mele obitiko shokoto point kalokri Oya, egu Orisha. Oya, we need. Oya. Asheo, asheo, asheo. Ayiloda yakuo. Soro moleke iyo ayaba. Ayiloda yakuo. Soro moleke iyo ayaba. Oya de mariwo. Oyan saloro shokoto. Oya de mariwo. Oloja loro shokoto. Ayiloda yakuo. Soro moleke iyo ayaba. Ekwaoya. Ekwaoya. Asheo, asheo, asheo. Woo! Yeah, I'm gonna be warm enough. That's right. Be hot. This plant really loves me. I'm gonna just scoot you a little bit over here though. It's like as much as I love you too, plant, you touching my arm too much. You know what I'm saying? You're getting me as I'm in the middle of the thing. Every time I come back, I'm like, oh, the plant messing up my vibe, man.
Sounds great.
Oh, shit, mon tu puedes. All right. I also brought some of my favorite Native American drums. I happen to be one of those descendants of mixed ancestry. I got all of them rocking with me. So I have Native American, African, and European ancestry, which gives me a lot of fun to do with my ancestor worship because it's a lot of harmony that I need to create. So we bring all the music together, all the traditions of music together.
We appreciate the harmony.
That's what always gets me. Yep. All right, we done got the energies up in here. I can hear them. Got ancestors coming up. You're like, wait, hold on. Wait, who out here playing? What they playing? What they doing?
What was that? Excuse me?
Y'all hear them? Y'all hear them down there? It's raining and
Who,
stuff.
who said that?
That's what happened. That's what happened. That's where the rain came from. We was up in here early. We was doing all them ancestral things, and then the rain came. We called the rain. That's what happened. We did a whole rain dance before.
We did. We did. We did a rain dance.
All
I
right.
think that's what happened.
Let's see here.
I can do some music stuff from back here, I realized also. Until Sarah gets back, get on the switches.
We're gonna pretend like y'all didn't hear that. We just gonna.
Sounded cool. All right. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Thanks to everybody in the chat here.
Here we go. We got music. All right.
Barry said there's no harm in harmony.
Harmony.
Said it always got the feel.
Oh yeah. Oh, we gonna get funky. We just getting started. Y'all just wait and see. We have a whole. The energy is gonna continue to build. Continue to build. Oh, okay. Oh, I can hear myself. Hey, that's a vibe.
That's a vibe.
There we go. Are we gonna get too much feedback when I start playing?
Oh. We'll keep an eye on it.
Bo Kao Ka Bie Si. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, Babalu. Yeah, Babalu. Yeah, Babalu. All right. Yeah. Yeah, man. The Illuze.
Hey, Obi, who's your favorite drummer?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Barry wants to know.
Because there's different type of drummers out here, right? You
Mhm.
have there's actually a band called the Nth Power. You ever heard of them?
The Nth Power?
The Nth Power. Yeah. You ever heard of them?
I haven't. No.
They're a vibe.
Yeah?
They're a vibe. Check them out right now if you haven't heard about them.
The Nth.
It's like funk, holy alternative rock.
Nice.
It's a thing. I went to go see him at the Mint
Awesome.
a few years ago in LA, and they just blew up the whole spot. They have really inspiring music,
Mhm.
and Nikki Glasper is their drummer, and she is something out of this world. She's on trap, but you know what I mean. So like as like an American trap player,
Uh-huh.
like she's incredible. I mean, her timing, everything about her technique, like her solos, she runs the whole band from behind the kit. She's incredible. Yeah, she's played with a lot of other pretty famous folks. So definitely Nikki Glasper, and then as far as like the classical like Mama D, Poncho Sanchez, obviously everyone loves Poncho Sanchez.
Poncho Sanchez.
Besame Mama.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see who else. Well, actually, and actually somebody that I met almost 10 years ago now, Fausto Cuevas III. He's an amazing percussionist out of Los Angeles, and I think he normally plays with J-Lo. He's definitely played with Queen Latifah, Stevie Wonder. I saw him play with Stevie one time at one of Stevie's benefit concerts, and he plays a cage that's almost like as big as half this room, and
Wow.
he can play anything. He's incredible. I think he's originally out of Texas, but I think that's where he went to school. But Fausto Cuevas III, probably one of my favorites. He plays, I think, Monday nights at El Floridita in Hollywood. So if you like the salsa, you can go get you some salsa on. Anybody? I mean, I'm watching. I got a lot of people from LA.
We got some LA folks, I think.
Yeah, because Sarah's from LA too, right? Yeah.
Yep.
So y'all already got the LA connection. It's like a little bridge. We got a little virtual bridge happening here.
Yeah. Shout out MKE LAX.
Yeah, and then obviously, some of my teachers, Babasilo, Ibaratron, who we lost recently, who we lift up to the heavens, Yames,
Yamas,
You know, I
yeah.
learned from these were the people I learned from, and they're incredible musicians. Romero Beverly was one of my teachers, especially in the djembe in Tankoti when I was a boy up until my young adulthood. Oh gosh, I mean, there's some that I'm probably not saying that I probably should be saying. Um, Babatunde, who's from Oyotunji, who was one of the original percussionists that I think he might have been my first actual drum teacher.
Mm.
And you know, I come out of the lineage, the spiritual lineage of Oyotunji, which is a African village here in the United States, and it is in Seabrook, South Carolina, and the original Oba Adifumi Ikini Ibadrum. He had like a chief drummer, like a guy who basically was like the main guy who traveled everywhere he went, and he was the music. So the bembes and things like that, which when we build the loops and everything like that, that sound that we created earlier, it's that kind of an energy, that kind of a sound.
What's that word?
Bembe.
Bimbe.
Yeah, it basically is like a big party, you know, where we all get together and we celebrate the orisha in the West African tradition of the Yorubas, which is out of Ile Ife, Nigeria, in Osun State. You know, this tradition found its way through the transatlantic slave trade into you know, so many different parts of the world. So what we know is, you know, the Afro-Cuban music, it made its way from West Africa, from places like, you know, Nigeria and other places around, Burkina Faso, you know, Guinea. All of these different types of music ended up coming, you know, with these enslaved Africans across the Atlantic, and became incorporated into the cultures that they created subsequently. So many people might be familiar with terms like Santaria or Regla de Ocha or Candomblé in Brazil, Lucumi. You know, these are all Caribbean and South American and Central American spiritual traditions that somewhat integrated with Christian and Catholic traditions. And, you know, the original tradition, the original spiritual, you know, ancestral practice that they come from is actually the Yoruba tradition, the tradition that my parents were fortunate enough to find in their, you know, days of being civil rights activists. My mother was initiated in 1977.
Wow.
So she's been at this for a grip almost 50 years. He's almost a half a century in. And then my father in 1982. And so, you know, for me, it's really special to be able to live a life where I can play all this music, you know, and I've been doing it since day one, and it's integrated directly into my spiritual practice. And I can also teach. I can also, you know, do things like this where I can come and we can play music, we can have some fun, and we can learn about, you know, our lineage. So if you are an enslaved African, or, you know, and not enslaved African, a descendant of an enslaved African, you know, these are good things good threads to pull on in terms of understanding yourself a little bit better, you know?
Yeah.
And if you're ever curious about your ancestors, where they come from, what they did, there are many of us out here teaching about that and that wisdom.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. In that light,
Cool.
I will sing us a song that we sing to the ancestors so that we can venerate them. And that is, it's a song that comes out of Oyotunji. So all of the songs that I sing, there are many different chants that have been created. Oyotunji is, again, the lineage that I come from, which is this village in South Carolina. And what they did is the Oba, the king there, was originally initiated into the priesthood of Obatala, the same priesthood that I am in, I mean, it might have been the 50s or something like that, you know, long time ago. And then he ended up going to Africa because he wanted to get the original. Like, he was like, nah, I want to get the script, you know what I mean? I want to go to the source. So he did. And then when he went there, they made him a king. They made him a Baale so that he can come and he could incorporate a village and create a sovereign African village here on U.S. soil. It was the first one of its kind. And in that, we created our own songs, or, you know, this tradition created our own songs, our own, you know, worship songs and things like that. Just like in the gospel tradition, you know, where churches come up with their own, you know, songs and things like that. We did the same thing, except for in, you know, the African tradition. So in Yoruba, this is one of the songs for the ancestors. Mojuba fefe iku, Mojuba fefe iku, Mojuba fefe iku, Mojuba fefe iku, iku o, iku o, yintin losin joba egungun, iku o, iku o, yintin losin joba egungun, Mojuba fefe iku, Mojuba fefe iku. All right.
Snaps.
Normally,
beautiful.
we do that as a call and response. So
Do you want to do it as a call and response?
we can on the loop. We could do it.
We can do it
actually.
on the loop.
That's a totally thing. That's definitely a thing that we can do.
Well, I'm about ready to hop out there. Was waiting on Sarah because she's doing a little roving reporter
Oh
out
yeah,
here
that's fine.
on the
keep on
art
that.
walk because
Yeah.
we are here on Vliet Street. We're participating in something called the art walk. But it's raining outside, so it's not too many people walking outside right now.
It's a good thing we got that virtual connection. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yep.
you know.
Oh, so people chimed in, said Barry said music is cool all over the globe.
Ashe.
Sam said, is Bembe drumming shamanic drumming?
Ashe. Yes, it is a shamanic journey. That is the thing. That is the thing. Not to be taken lightly. Let me be clear. Walk of shamanic, energy. It ain't light. It's heavy.
Yeah.
It's work. It's work.
Yeah, they said that it sounded really pretty.
Thank you.
And yeah, I guess
Many more like that to come. I got plenty of them. I'm filled with them. I had this
Yeah.
really good fortune, of growing up in this environment where the last Sunday of every month at my father's temple, Ifatunji, which is in Chicago, and that's a temple for Ifa. Ifa is like the oracle divinity in the Orisha tradition, and we basically had we used to call it Shrine Day. It was called Shrine Day. So every Sunday or every last Sunday of every month, we would all get together. Everybody would come to the temple. All of the people that were learning about the traditions from my parents, people who were initiated into the priesthood, of which hundreds came through that temple. And they would come, everybody bring food. It'd be like a potluck kind of vibe. All the homies would come because I was a kid, right? So like all the little people that were, the other priests' kids and whatnot, they would all come through. And we would have a big bimbe, right? We would have a day that was dedicated to one particular Orisha. So we would sing all of their praise songs. We would do any of the ceremony that was necessary and prep work and ritual prior to the gathering, later in the evening. And this is like, in the hood in Maywood, 21st and Madison, like this big old African bimbe is taking place in the yard, and so many people at first, were like, what are y'all doing back there? Like, what's going on? Like, what's the vibe, man? Like, I hear all this music and stuff, like, but then after a while, they kind of got into it. We kind of became this, cultural magnet, if you will, for people in the Black community, which is a beautiful thing. And so for me, it's been my life to be immersed in that. I looked forward to it. I loved it. I could, all the homies was coming over. We were going to eat good. We were going to play music. I get to play with all the, the old head drummers at the time who I looked up to and thought were just amazing, And now, I'm fortunate enough to be a part of the group that gets to carry those traditions forward. So Well, speaking of Baba Mi or Batala, while we wait for Sarah, I can give us another chant here. This chant is actually a chant that was written by another Ajaguna priest. Obatala Jaguna is the road of Obatala priesthood that I walk myself. And this particular path centers the spirit of a warrior that wields a silver machete with a red handle. And, you know, this particular spirit is venerating an ancestor of ours that led a fight or led many fights from the front lines. So most of these you know, leaders, these king spirits and whatnot in our history and our ancestral stories, most of them, you know, are more general spirits, right? They you know, ride a horse, and sometimes Ajaguna rode a horse, but most of them from the back. You know what I mean? Like most generals, you know, there's a tent, they're planning, they're doing that kind of vibe. That wasn't Ajaguna's flow. Jaguna was like, nah, man, you follow me. I'm ready.
Yeah. I like that kind of general, you know?
It's a vibe. It's a vibe. When
Yeah.
they're ready to get down in the trenches with you,
Right.
you know, that's the vibe. So, you know, that's the type of path that I walk in. That's the way in which I try to approach my practice as a priest, is to be on the ground and, you know, in the earth with the people that I work with.
Love that.
There's no hierarchy or pedestals or things like that for me in my practice. And this song was written by another priest, because this is a rare road. It doesn't come up very often, this road, who was on this same road. Baba mitikole ninure mimobwe mobi mole mo moshe ishere ora miloye ora milowo ashare ni moka jore baba baba mitikole ninure mimobwe mobi mole mo moshe ishere ora miloye ora milowo ashare ni moka jore baba baba mitikole ninure mimobwe mobi mole mo moshe ishere ora miloye ora milowo ashare ni moka chore papa ekwa o baba mi o batala o batiala terere ke aiye eleda alabalashe ibikeji edumari adimula alashe o baba rugbo o risha bigbiniki o bato risha o bato yana orisha dide so mi dirun so mi digba so mi dota leg beje eniya ekwa o baba Jaguna. Ashe.
Yeah.
Vibes. Welcome to what it sounds like at my house every 8th day. And more low key, because my mother practices too, and we have different cycles that we have to practice on because we have different priesthoods that we're in. There's so many different capillaries to this rich and beautiful ancestral tradition. So I have a tremendous amount of gratitude. Just, it's wild to think about coming up in the States within this kind of a thing.
Yeah.
Literally,
Well,
I was talking
fantastic.
to one of the homies about it, who's from Ifatunji as well, and he was saying, we were talking about it, we were like, literally, it's like less than 1% of people in the United States. You know, there's 400 million people in this country, and a small fraction have grown up in ancestral traditions like these, specifically ones that are of the Yoruba and not one of the kind of variations that came through, you know, the transatlantic slave trade.
Yeah.
Not that there's any, you know, comparison between them. But the reason that specifically here in the United States, which I think is important to name, these traditions were not something that carried out, you know, or that were not well known, is because they were demonized. So there were laws, you know, there were many, many laws against practicing our ancestral traditions here in the United States, you know, because of chattel slavery and the way that practice carried out in such a harsh and torturous fashion. And so if you were playing a drum like this, you know, because these drums were initially designed for us to communicate with one another. The djembe, I don't know if you know, but the djembe is designed for us to communicate from one village to the next, to alarm, the village if there's a threat coming or anything like that. It's not just about, our music in terms of, the way that we dance and sing with it and that we give praise to our ancestors. There were many different functions, and they knew that the different hand patterns allowed us to speak to one another. And so if you were on one plantation, let's say, and another plantation far away, and y'all were trying to organize a revolt, you could do so just with the drum. You don't have to say nothing. You could hear the drum playing, and you could see what they were prepared for based on what rhythm they were playing. So these things were outlawed in the United States because chattel slavery was harsher here than it was really anywhere.
Wow.
Oh, go ahead.
I'm just saying, wow, that's crazy that they outlawed it.
I mean, but that's just the reason that we don't really see this tradition, as much as like if you go to Brazil, the candomblé tradition in Brazil, they weren't really kept from practicing their ancestral tradition. So in some ways they were, but they were there was much more of a multiplicity. So because there were so many more slaves and they were outnumbered in the way that they were essentially able to continue practicing their traditions. And so they were able to hold on to the wisdom a little bit tighter. Ours ended up morphing a lot into the church. So there's many aspects of the Black church here in the United States that mirror our ancestral traditions across the Atlantic. And a lot of times people don't understand the connections between these things, like the Oni Konkan, which is the practice of call and response, right? When we call and they respond. In gospel, that's a very common practice, and that's where its roots come from. When you see the old ladies dancing in all white and everything in a lot of these old churches, that comes from these praise chants, these bembes. That's what everybody wears all white to the bembes, that this is the traditional practice. And so there were certain elements that were able to be integrated into their praise in the Christian church that they were offered as their outlet for spirituality. But they knew that they needed to nurture it. These slaves, for hundreds of years realized that they still needed to find a way to carry forward their traditions because that was the tradition. It's always been a practice of telling our stories and carrying them forward one generation after the next. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing.
Had someone mention something kind of serious here that you might want to hear. Sam said, "This is just what I needed after losing a very close friend recently.
Oh, man.
She was only 31 and left behind 8 children."
8 children. Oh, my God. Whew. Take a quick breath on that one. 31 years.
So I bring that up just in thinking that, we can send out that love and prayer from the drums into the communicating rhythms of the earth.
Ashe. Yeah. Sam, I genuinely pray for those children and for your community in this time. We pray that all the peace and prosperity and joy that you can imagine for yourselves comes in an abundance in this time of grief and sorrow. Many things can be true at once. When we have great loss, we have to spend that time mourning. And we have to work as a community. So I pray that your community comes together around you and those children, and that you guys can work together to give them a fruitful life, and that your ancestors can guide you in that. And it's our belief that our ancestors are always guiding us. Always guiding us. Even if we ain't necessarily connected or practicing a divination or anything like that, our ancestors are always connecting us to our destinies in the ways that we need to be. Yeah.
Truly.
Oh, that's heavy, man.
Thank you so much.
That's heavy. Okay.
They said the ancients understood so much more about the sound and acoustics. It can really help healing. Thank you so much.
Ashe. Yeah, we were talking about this earlier today. A lot of the scientific study is starting to understand different things, that have been around for millennia in different spiritual traditions and ancestral traditions. And one of the recent studies kind of uncovered the way that sounds, like basic sounds like this here, this long, low frequency pulsating beats, which you find in Native American traditions, you find in any indigenous tradition around the world. They have some sort of drum that is able to make a sound just like this or in some variation of it. And what that does is it sends out a frequency right into the earth, and in the earth are the mycelium, the shrooms, the mushrooms, the fungi. And these are the things actually that we are derived from. A lot of people aren't familiar with this, but fungi are our ancestors. If they weren't here, and if water weren't here before we got here, then nothing else would be here. That's what created life on this planet. The fungi are this natural force of transmutation. They take things and they use whatever energy is there and they create it. And they are living organism. They communicate. I mean, it's wild to learn about this. And we're learning about its connection to ancestral wisdom, right? These, the psychedelics and things like that have been a part of ancestral rituals for millennia. And, people go ayahuasca ceremonies, all these different things, they go sweat lodges, all these different things. And the sound of the music is specifically designed to communicate with the earth so that the earth understands what we need, because that's where our ancestors are. And they come up through the trees because we share breath with the trees. And we, in every tradition, when you look back, you find a common connection through most spiritual traditions around the globe. That human breath is associated with God, that we get our breath directly from God, right? In our tradition, it would be Olodumare that we say. That's our creator, Olodumare. And in our stories, Olodumare gives a unique breath to each individual human. We have our own unique ashe, our own specific kind of essence of God that has to do with what we're here to do and what we have to offer the world. And these are the tools that we use to kind of communicate and bring that to life, which is really beautiful. Yeah. All right. So what are we on to next?
Well, Sarah's out and about right now. We're getting a little some views of the Vliet Street while we're talking here.
Vibes.
And it's kind of beautiful hearing you talk, speaking this ancient wisdom while Sarah's showing us just kind of what it looks like out there right at this moment, and as the rain comes down and nourishes the soil, we just are happy that you're here and happy that we're all, healthy.
That we're all here.
Yeah.
That we're all here.
Exactly.
This has been a wild time. Let's be real. Okay, there have been things going on. A family member that had a really rough accident yesterday. She's fine, but it was very scary, and we're just blessed that she's still with us. And I've taken on a lot of testimony in the last week, starting probably last Monday. I got a lot of testimony from people. So that's 2 weeks now, in terms of just very difficult things they've been dealing with. So lots of grief in the frequencies today. But there are bright horizons. As a person that practices divination, I have access to the ancestors in asking directly what to kind of be looking forward to and looking toward. And everything is pointing toward us going through this time of chaos. I mean, everything around the world is kind of in a very tense place. We're extremely divided from one another. There's war happening all around this planet right now. And that affects us all because of this concept, again, that's a through line in spirituality, which is oneness. This idea that we're all connected, which is absolutely true. We're all a part of this one organism, which is called Earth. And we can't disconnect ourselves from it, funnily enough. You know what I mean? Like if you're breathing right now, me and you are breathing together. You know what I mean? And me and these plants too. I was talking to this plant earlier because it kept hitting me while I was playing. This is a whole thing. This is a whole living being right here. So understanding that we are all connected through all of these different, kind of channels, if you will, and that we can't really disconnect ourselves. I think it's important that we give recognition to this time of just what feels like chaos and war and strife being consistently, kind of fed into our frequencies. But the ancestors have said to me and many other practitioners as of late that, peace is on the horizon. But the way in which we get there is by all of us coming to our shared responsibility of protecting the sanctity of peace, of returning to this space in the human collective where we actually realize that in order for us to have peace, each of us must be a part of keeping it. And so if you are a person that seeks peace and you're perpetuating actions of war, that doesn't really make sense, does it? You know what I mean? I'm not going to get political here, but everybody knows which direction this could go real fast, right?
Yep.
And ultimately, when it comes down to the way that we are able to maintain the sanctity of peace, though, it comes back to us. It comes back within. So ask yourself, what are you doing to respect and maintain the sanctity of peace in your own community? And try to take a step toward it every single day. Every one of us that does that, that's how we create that. It's a collective thing. It's not something that somebody in a chair somewhere with a gavel or a pen does. It's what we do together. That's how we do this. All right. Let's stop yapping and let's do some music. Let's play some music.
Let's put it into the drums. Let me see if I can. I think I'm gonna let Sarah's gonna take the wheel remotely, and I'm gonna try this. Yeah, let's try that.
What you got?
I got the
Oh, I see it. Are we about to get the loops rocking? What are we doing?
Yeah, I think we're gonna try to rock some loops.
Raise the vibes. This is a vibe. I was having so much fun when we were doing this earlier.
Cool.
Yeah.
And I saved all of what we did earlier too. So
Oh, sweet. Okay.
That's nice. But I won't show it to him. I'll show him after.
Yeah, we can do that. We can recreate it to an extent. I'm gonna start with the same downbeat.
Yeah, let's just start.
We're gonna start on the African. So we're gonna layer some ancestral beats. So if you don't already know this about music, Afro-Cuban music is one of these really rich areas of music where you can feel it in your body, and it's all based on this basic African rumba rhythm. That's the vibe, right? So when you listen to like reggaeton or really any music, you can hear this bass line rhythm, this bass, line. I might not be using the, appropriate terminology, but you can hear this in, almost all music. And it's because that's what music really grew from. It really grows from these drums here, these very instruments that we're playing right now. So we're going to layer that. And we're going to bring in some other ancestral sounds, and we're going to, kind of play them together like we did before. It's going to be a vibe.
Want anything, Drake? We good?
No, I got this coffee, which is serving me quite well at the moment.
Got me a vitamin water. Okay. There we are.
Actually, no, I don't want to do that one. I want to do this one. I want to do a different one.
Yeah.
It's happening. want to start with the second one or the first one?
I think it was because this mic was turned on. I think that's what it was.
Okay. Because we got it good before. We had it right.
Yeah, it sounded crispy before, but maybe we can sound it a little more crispy.
Art is messy, kids.
It is. It really is. You know.
But that's what we were talking about before. Like, like we're just playing with our toys like big boys. You know what I mean? Like, it should be fun. Mm-hmm. It should be you should be able to have a good time with it.
Absolutely.
All right, let's try it again. And I remember there was another one I want to lay on top of the congos, which I think I can get in there. So, all right, so. They can hear it on there. Calling them ancestors. We weren't joking around. We really actually calling these ancestors today. Oh, reindeer. That's what the Native American calls, yeah. From the top of the mountain, like, you get real loud with it, and it carries. It's on the top of the mountain, like, you get real loud with it, and it carries. From the top of the mountain, like, you get real loud with it, and it carries. From the top of the mountain, like, you get real loud with it, and it carries. From the top of the mountain, like, you get real loud with it, and it carries. before. It's okay. We'll get it. We did before. We'll get it. Work it out the case. It's cool. I'll go back to the original because I wanted 2 of the original ones on there. So it'll be good. It's a djembe and it's a conga. You're playing the same beat. It'll be a vibe. I wonder if it's me. I think it's me.
I don't know if it's like there's like a delay, like a tiny delay going in.
When you hit the record button, like we were talking about before?
Yeah, it's hard to explain, but it keeps it all on a grid, so but it's not I don't know.
We can relay it. Let's do it again. All right.
So this is what we did before, just to prove that we can do it. So we played this one.
Our first time doing this. This is what we did before. Kawaii, Kabisile, Kawaii, Kabisile, Kawaii, Kawaii, Kabisile,
Sarah's on the streets. Music is made of magic, baby. Oh wait, no, that's not it. I gotta do it quicker. Hold on. Wait. Here we go. Music is made of magic, baby. You either got it or you don't have it, baby. Okay. Music is made of magic, baby. You either got it
don't have it, baby. Music is playing magic, baby. You either got it or you don't have it, baby. Music is playing magic, baby. You either got it or you don't have it, baby. Music magic is playing music, baby. We got it, you don't have it, baby. Music magic, magic, baby. You either got it, you don't have it, baby. Music is playing magic, baby. You either got it, you don't have it, baby. Music is playing magic, baby. You either got it, you don't have it, baby. Music is playing magic, baby. You either got it, you don't have it, baby. Music is playing magic, baby. You either got it, you don't have it. Music is playing magic, baby. You either got it, you don't have it, baby. Music is playing magic, baby. You either got it, you don't have it, baby. Music is playing magic, baby. You either got it, you don't have it, baby. Music is playing, baby. You either got it, you don't have it, baby. Music is playing magic, baby. You either got it, you don't have it, baby. Music is playing magic, baby. You either got it, you don't have it, baby. Music is playing magic, baby. You either got it, you don't have it, baby. Music is playing magic, baby. You either got it, you don't have it, baby. Music is playing magic, baby. You either got it, you don't have it, baby. Music is playing magic, baby. You either got it, you don't have it, baby. Music is playing magic, baby. You either got it, you don't have it, baby. Music is playing magic, baby. You either got it, you don't have it, baby. Music is playing magic, baby. You either got it, you don't have it, baby. Music is playing magic, baby. You either got it, you don't have it, baby. Music is playing magic, baby. You either got it, you don't have it, baby. Music is playing magic, baby. You either got it, you don't have it, baby. Music is playing magic, baby. You either got it, you don't have it, baby. Music is playing magic, baby. You either got it, you don't have it, baby. Music is playing magic, baby. You either got it, you don't have it, baby. Music is playing magic, baby. You either got it, you don't have it, baby. Music is playing magic, baby. You either got it, you don't have it, baby. Music is playing magic, baby. You either got it, you don't have it, baby. Music is playing magic, baby. You either got it, you don't have I was trying to think of something else to do with that. Music is made I like what you were doing with it before with this. You either got it or you don't have it, baby. Music is made of magic, baby. You either got it or you don't have it, baby. Music is made of magic, baby. You either got it or you don't have it, baby. Music is made of magic, baby. You either got it or you don't have it, baby. Music is made of magic, baby. You either got it or you don't have it, baby. Music is made of magic, baby. You either got it or you don't have it, baby. Music is made of magic, baby. You either got it or you don't have it, baby. Music is made of magic, baby. You either got it or you don't have it. I'm in here. Texas. Not gonna be able to make it, but put together like a guitar or Yeah, what is that?
Music is made of magic, baby. Got it.
The electronic creepy crawlies.
Something's in the frequencies. Where's that coming from? I wonder if it's this mic. 1 second.
Oh, is it the cable? There comes a time in every studio session when you have to ask yourself, is it the cable or is it me?
Maybe the ancestors are like, take 5. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Could be that.
Ancestors need a break.
You know what I'm saying? They be you know, they be like, hey, man.
They're like, hey, we got to go to the bathroom.
What could that be?
I don't know. Maybe I'll just...
You think it's on the looper?
Oh, it probably is, yeah. Maybe I'll... Yeah. Turn that off and see if that's the culprit. No, it takes a second to shut down.
The best we can do is maybe try to lower Bluetooth. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, it was the looper. It was just too many things going on. It's overpowering. This is what the live stream is doing right now. Oh, she jumped out. Interesting. I hope I didn't kick her out. It still has our 2 mics. Yep. But I'm gonna bring this back in. But Hello, welcome back. Oh, wait, that was that.
Is it your phone? Like the you know what I'm talking about?
The internet
You know,
frequencies?
yeah. Low key. Nah, mine isn't close enough anyway. That's definitely effective.
Whoa!
Yeah, that's what it is. That's exactly.
It makes you really like aware of how powerful these things are, how much they're doing.
Also, brings us back to the conversation about the frequencies, right? Everything being connected. So, we use light. Everything is responding to wavelengths, you know what I'm saying, that are constantly going, even before Wi-Fi and all of this stuff, even before we started pushing out all of these different frequencies through these different electronic devices, there was always wavelengths present.
Yeah.
And that's where we started with the sound. Every single time you hit the drum, the sound wave goes off, and it affects everything in this place. That's what we call Ashe. Ashe is the essence of God. It's in everything. It's in every inanimate object. It's in everything. It goes through everything. Everything is alive.
Is that when you say ashe, you say that after a prayer, like amen,
Yeah,
kind
so
of?
ashe is, so it's used oftentimes in like an amen kind of a way.
Yeah,
right.
right.
So let the church
Ashe,
say
ashe.
amen, right?
Yeah.
Ashe, same thing.
Yeah.
But ashe also has this meaning of, or this understanding and wisdom that we are essentially all imbued and all things are imbued with ashe, which
You
is
should
like
talk into that mic.
this one here.
maybe.
Is this one? How about this one? How about this one?
That
Does
one's
work?
going to the looper.
Oh, that one's
So
going
that one's probably the one.
All right, I got it. No, it's good. The capacities of these devices.
So what were you saying though? I feel like I cut you off.
That's cool. No,
Just wanted to make sure we could hear you because I'm going to turn this down so we don't have that crackle.
there we go. Vibes.
And
Yeah, so ashe is the essence of God that is within all things, ultimately.
yeah.
Right? So it's different within us all. It manifests differently within us all. But all things have it, even inanimate objects. It goes back to, it actually connects to a lot of new scientific theory in quantum mechanics, where, everything has consciousness, is what the new, thinking is starting to become.
Yes.
And obviously there's going to be debate for this for some time, right? And I'm not trying to get into no empirical kind of a thing. I'm just talking about the ancestral wisdom. And it's interesting to me that new scientific theory is starting to lead us back to things that, ancestral wisdom has been teaching us for years.
Yeah.
And it's just like qi or Tao, right? Have you heard of the Tao Te Ching?
Yeah, absolutely.
Or, anybody's ever heard of qi? It's the same concept. It's that this essence, this life force, permeates all things, and is what activates everything and what connects us all together. And that's what we was hearing in them waves. That's what was going on in them waves. And low key, you wake up some ancestors, you know what I'm saying, with what we've been doing up in here, and they'll come up in the frequencies, you know what I'm saying? They will be heard. Talk about ceasefire now. Shay. You can't hear me in this one either? I can just talk real loud. My ancestors made me loud so that I would definitely be heard. Music is made of magic, baby. You either got it or you don't have it, baby. You can hear me, yeah? Yeah. The Epa is like one of those things where it's like similar to the Greeks, they Opa. Leave that.
Yeah.
What's up?
What?
Is she back?
She's back. It's all good. Okay.
What we got?
All right.
I can hear myself now.
What's up? No, I don't.
So we still working out some of the sound stuff. Chill with us for a second. Oh, we're good now.
Yeah, I think
We just
have to figure out what's up with all of our, because as soon as I turn this up, it's
we're running mad power through it.
yeah, we have yeah, so we can just chat, I guess,
Yeah, man.
and play.
I'm down.
Got drums.
You want to play a drum?
I got a couple of notebooks. I could vocalize.
Okay.
I could rap a little.
Okay.
Maybe,
Okay. I vibe with that.
if that's all
Let's do
right.
some drum talk.
Okay.
You ever meet Baba Teju?
No.
There's another
What's that?
Obatala priest here in Milwaukee. One of my seniors, one of my elders, Baba Teju. He had a series that went through MPS called Drum Talk. Drum Talk. Talk about drum talk. What was that? Oh, Siri came up when I said that. When I said series.
Oh.
I was like, "What you doing, girl?" So you gonna rap over my djembe?
I mean, I don't know if we can call it rap, but I can vocalize some
Spoken word.
some
We
invocations.
do some Gil Scott Heron vibes.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
Like that.
Yeah.
The revolution will
Not be televised.
Apparently.
The revolution will be live streamed.
Yeah, live streamed with sound, complications.
Or yeah, it won't be. I don't know. We don't know.
All right.
The well rises when the rain falls, encouraging wisdom to speak up. For us all emerging, life gives back what you give to it. What is life but visions and blips between blinks? Blips between blinks, blips between blinks. Give yourself permission, give yourself permission. Give yourself permission to be distinct and distinct and well-visioned and well-visioned. It's like a warp whistle mission. Love's cup is filling up with sips and gulps of nourishment. One-ups and power wings. Flights of encouragement. Turning pages every day. Before you know it, we are flourishing. Flourishing, 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 worshipping, 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 flourishing, flourishing, mountain water turning spicy. Turning spring, thirsty thing, go figure. Go figure, go figure, go figure, the go figure, the go figure, the go figure, the go. Likewise as a thrill passes, like a spark that never catches. Every event is an endeavor of environment, meeting with the enlightenment by the height of its inspirement. Climbing like poles that want all day to see their full potential, and every day, every which way, but alleviated. That's the shadow talking like a launch pad, coaxing you into feeling sad by eliminating options for your palate to attend to. Ba-ding, bum, bum, ba-ding. Ba-ding, bum, bum, ba-ding. Words.
I just had an idea.
Hey.
I'm going to call an audible.
Yeah.
My car's right there.
Yeah?
I have my divination kit
Yeah?
in the car.
Okay. You
How
want
would
to go
like
get
to
it?
do a divination?
A divination?
Like a real one.
Yeah.
Like a real one. You know what I'm
A
saying?
real one?
Bro, it's
Sure.
going to be real up in here. All right, I'll be right back.
Let's do it. I don't
music
even
or something
know.
while I'm gone.
I have some idea of what that word means, but I don't exactly know
Divination?
what you say is a real divination.
Sure. Okay. Well, real deep. Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
I don't. Real is. Maybe I shouldn't be so arrogant as to say.
Oh,
real,
no.
But it's ultimately a way of communicating with a higher power. Let's put it like that, right? I use a channel, known as Ifa, which is the oracle. Because I'm an Ifatunji, that comes in my Ashe. Ifatunji means the oracle returns. That's my clan. Oracle cards, I'll use ancestral oracle cards. So I create a connection between us and the ancestors where we can have direct line of communication and we can understand the things that we need to be considering in our time, in our life right now for ourselves. So I can do a divination for us in the community, and I have my kit in the car. So I'm gonna go grab that real quick and we'll get down with it.
Cool. Thanks, Obi.
1 second.
Hey, Sarah, anybody talking in the chat right now? No, all my stuff's going through this looper that's making a crazy situation. So I can just chat. But that's what I was going to see if anybody's like talking. No? Okay. All right. Well, I'm just sitting here in the blanket fort, and I'm going to just talk a little bit. Some Dr. Seuss rhymes, yeah. Thanks to everybody for hanging out with us today on this rainy Friday afternoon. It's kind of a beautiful descent into the evening. I love the rain myself. I'm a big fan, especially this time of year, because it's like all going to good use. Those late autumn rains are pretty cold, and like you're like, what's the point? What's this doing? But when it's in the springtime, that we're going to be growing some nice trees and nice plants and foods for all the people to eat. And yeah, I'm feeling sad that I can't really play my instruments right now. But oh well. We'll figure this out later. And oh wow, that's a real divination kit.
Well, what's dope about it is it's like a chessboard.
Yeah, I mean, I know how to play chess. I'm not a real strategist, but I enjoy it.
The homie that I connected with the other night, Rue, shouts out.
Shout out to Rue.
My man Rue.
Yep.
He plays chess. We were talking about it the other night when we were here for the blanket fort. And
We could have a chess night here.
we should have a chess night here.
Chess club.
I would be so down to chess club it.
Yeah.
And low key, I know a bunch of other people that would be down too.
I know they got the hip hop chess club. That seems to bounce around a little bit.
Oh yeah, what's that about?
There's somebody who runs a thing called Hip Hop Chess Club.
No, I seen that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just now getting plugged back into the Milwaukee scene.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's so many things that are different,
Yeah.
I don't know if y'all noticed, but I was in LA for like the past 13 years.
Wow.
So, and I've only been back literally like 3 weeks or like a
But
month
you
or
grew
so.
up here.
Yeah, I grew up here. I left in 2010, 2011.
Mm-hmm.
I lived in Chicago for a year, and then I moved to Los Angeles. And I guess congas are going to have to be my table for this. Here we go. Ashe. All right. Get a second to set this up. There's so much to learn about these types of things, these different types of spirituality that don't have a lot of, let's say, space. I mean, they're getting more space these days. A lot of people are branching out. People are becoming less religious and more spiritual.
Yeah.
Myself included, even though I'm a priest. It's like, how do we reconcile that? But
Yeah.
the way I approach things is to try and make connections between all of the different spiritual practices and traditions that have been on the planet. And there are many, 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 many. And what we find is that there are these common themes, these kind of universal themes of what we have to work with. And ancestral veneration actually is a really common one.
listening to your ancestors, passing stories down, understanding the ways in which your ancestors found spiritual, kind of health for themselves and connection related with the cosmos, and that they worshipped and whatnot, and trying to figure out, what aspects of that you want to incorporate into your life. So you don't necessarily have to do it exactly the way they do it. It's okay for you to come up with your own that's all right. So what I will do is a quick card reading for us here. And I have some Efun here. This we use to protect our ori. Our ori is like our mind's eye. So that when we work with ancestral energies, nothing, is messing with us that we don't want to. Nothing, no darkness gets in or anything like that. All right. I'm going to do a quick prayer to open up, and I need some water. Where would I get some water? Just like a glass or a cup.
We got a couple of sinks.
Yeah. I feel like I'm missing something. I hate when that happens. All right. Good boy. Thank you. All right. So we always begin with water because water is life. And, whoop. Come on, Mike. We good? All right. The audible has been called, and we are moving into a divination. All right. Okay. You can sit silently for a moment in this prayer. Take a deep breath, and then keep on doing that. Omi tutu. Ona tutu. Tutu laroye. Olodumare ajuba bogbo egu. Timbilese olodumare bautrum. Ibashe olodumare. Ibashe o gungunla. Ibashe o bogbo umile. Ibashe o bogbo risha. Ibashe o elekba. Ibashe o ifa. Ibashe o batala jaguna. O batiala atereke aiye leda alabalashi ibikeji edumari adimula lasheo ekwa o baba rugbo o batorisha o batoyana somi dirun somi dota legbeje enia ekwa o baba Ibashe o oya ewe oginimile obitiko shokoto point talokri oya egun orisha oya wini Ibashe o Ogun Ibashe o Shango kaoka biesi kwa o baba Ibashe Osun, Ibashe Yemoja, Ibashe Olokun, Ibashe Orishaje, Ibashe Egbe, Ibashe Ori, Ibashe Bogbori fún mo ti dé. Àṣé mo dúpẹ́ fún gbogbo kí fún mi nì. Kò sí ikú kò sí àrùn, kò sí ikú kò sí àrùn, kò sí ikú kò sí àrùn. Kosi àìsàn, kosi àìṣiṣẹ́, kosi àìṣiṣàn, kosi ẹjọ́, kosi wàhálà, kosi fìtìgbò, kosi àṣẹlú, kosi ọlọ́pàá, kosi àìlówó, kosi burúkú, Kosi jagun jagun, kosi bobo ajogun, kosi bobo ajogun, kosi bobo ajogun. Fún mi ní àlàáfíà. Fún wa ní àlàáfíà. Fún wa ní àlàáfíà. Fún wa ní àìkú. Fún wa ní owó. Fún wa ní ọlá. Fún wa ní ìṣẹ́gun. Fún wa ní ìmọ̀. Fún wa ní ọgbọ́n. Fún wa ní ìwà pẹ̀lẹ́. Fún wa ní agbára. Fún wa ní sùúrù. Fún wa ní oúnjẹ dáadáa. Fún wa ní ilẹ̀ dáadáa. Fún wa ní ọmọ dáadáa. Fún wa ní gbogbo ire, gbogbo ire, gbogbo ire. Àṣẹ bẹ́ẹ̀ ni kò rí. Àṣẹ rí kù bàbá wa. Àṣẹ. All right. So this prayer ultimately calls in all of the divinities that we have awareness and connection of. So different cosmic energies and things of that nature, ancestors and so on, creators and so on. And then we make prayer when I'm saying kosi, kosi, I'm saying to keep away all of these things that we don't want in our life, right? Poverty, sickness, death, thugs, all kinds of things that we just don't want in our experience, any sort of chaotic or disharmonizing forces. And then we move to Ifatunji, which is to ask for the blessings that we do want in our life, right? So alafia is peace and prosperity. That's the main thing that I'm looking for on a regular, right? Day to day, I'm looking for peace and prosperity. And I know you are too. And then we ask for things like wisdom and victory and good home, good children, good character, things of that nature, things that bring us all of our good blessings and the things that are meant for us at this time in our lives. And that we have the strength and the patience to kind of find our path through. So once we call that, and then we give thanks to the ancestors, the Olofi, all of the different cosmic energies that give us the rights to be here. And now we ask a question. The question is Shibobodara. Shibobodara is a question to ask essentially directly, how are things? It's kind of like, what's up? How we doing out here? How should we consider our alignment with all of the natural forces and energies of the cosmos? So give me 1 second here. Shetutu. 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 Yago baba mio batala. Ajaguna. Shibobodara. Obinu ano obinu eyo obinu ofa obinu ku. Oh, we got a little mixed message here. I need to throw again. Mainly because, so actually this would be down. Yeah, we're gonna throw one more time because I got a sideways message. I'm gonna use the floor.
Ooh.
Typically, I like to throw on my mat, but these shells been around 20 years. They got it. They got the smoke. They know what's.
I want to cut to the what?
Obinu ano obinu eyo obinu ofa obinu ku. All right, so I got one down, one up, one down, and I'm missing one. Where's the other one? Set up. Come on now. Itawa. I'm going to throw again. Itawa wa, tawa mo, tawa lafia. Tawa shiriku babawa. Obinu, ano obinu, eyo obinu, ofa, obinu ku. All right, that's better. Hey, all right, that's a clear message right there. This is a beautiful message from the ancestors. This message is alafia. This is peace and prosperity. Ezra Batalan priest is the best. It's the best that I can throw. It was a Tawa Lafia, and sometimes a Tawa is kind of like a message that says it's a letter where the shells fall in a specific way. And ultimately, what it means is you have to throw again. And oftentimes, what it is that there's kind of like, something interrupting the frequencies, right? So we're having a little bit of trouble, in the first couple throws. And so now it's like, all right, here's a clear message. We coming through clear. All right, let me grab these guys.
There's one in the front, right here. Peace and prosperity.
Peace. This microphone right here has been. Should I get like one of those sandbags for this one?
I think it doesn't need it. I think you got it.
Just needs to be to knock into it.
That's probably the best. So what are on the pieces there?
These here?
Yeah. What are they, first of all?
Yeah. So these are coconut shells,
Coconut shells.
and I've had these particular shells for 20 years.
Uh huh.
I was initiated into the priesthood of Obatala in July 2004.
Wow.
At Ile Fajalumi. So we have to crack our coconut when we first, get into the practice of divination in order to do it. And you have to crack the coconut without breaking the meat. Have you ever seen a coconut opened up?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So the white meat, you have to crack it so you can get the shell off without actually breaking the meat, which is a very difficult task.
Yes.
It takes some practice and some time until you can get to that part.
It's tricky. Yeah.
And so these shells come from my original coconut that I cracked 20 years ago. I've had with me this whole time.
Wow.
And then I have some other aspects here. I have some crystals that I got. I always forget the names of the crystals because I'm not like a crystal kind of a, like the priesthood that I come from doesn't, study, the different types of whatever you want to call it, crystals and rocks and things like that. But this one helps with clarity. And then I have a couple of others here. And then I have a Chumash shaker that I use that I got from a wonderful friend of mine to replace my Alade. And this is like a very authentic Chumash shaker to invoke the ancestral energy of the Native Americans. So those are the different pieces. Let me shuffle here and we'll get 3 cards. So we do a 3-card pull. And these are tree wisdom cards, which are kind of a vibe because we were talking before about mycelium and the way in which, are you familiar with the world wood web? Have you ever heard that term? The world wood web?
No.
There's this amazing documentary that I love, Paul Stemmons, you know that dude? The mushroom guy with the beard? No, you don't know that dude. You got to check this stuff out, Wes. We got to get you on board, bruh.
Okay, I'm interested.
Yeah, check it out. There's a documentary, I think it's on Netflix, called Fantastic Fungi. And it breaks down everything you really need to know about mycelium and the practice of mycology. And one of the main aspects of it is that if you look underground, the fungal networks is how the trees communicate with one another, how the plants communicate with one another. They can sense us walking on the surface of the ground because of the vibrations that we create, and they communicate that to the trees and the plants all around. So this idea, again, of oneness and everything being connected, the mycelium are what makes that possible for us. And so because we acknowledge in the Yoruba tradition that the breath of life comes directly from Olodumare, and we as humans share our breath with the trees. The trees are our closest relatives, really, because we can't live without them, right? So the breath that they offer us, we essentially, the breath that we share with them, is this kind of sacred connection that we have to the earth and to the cosmos. So our ancestors are able to communicate with us through the trees, and being it that we do practice burial rites and all these other things, the earth takes that ashe that comes from us when we go back to the earth, and it's in the trees. It's in those, those spirits, the tree spirits, that we use this particular divination practice, this oracle card, to connect with. So our first card for today, hornbeam. vibes. The hornbeam is an extremely strong tree. And the first card is the mind and the past. So it's associated with harmony of your mind and harmony of your past. So considering how you integrate the things that you learned from your past into your now. And the baobab, survival. This is associated with the body. And they were both right way up as they showed themselves to me. I wonder if I could probably show it to the camera. Is this, how does that look? Yeah, that would have to be a Zoom situation. We have both here.
You can kind of see.
Yeah, you can kind of see it. Hornbeam and the baobab, and then I have one more. So the baobab for the present and the body. Baobab is the tree of survival, and then the olive tree. Ashe. I always forget with the olive if it's purity or if it's peace. But we will find out. I will read us the messages. Normally when I do this, I'm like on my mat. I have like a whole setup, but we did this kind of on the fly. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's a good on-the-fly setup. The chess box.
Yeah, man. Keep the whole kit. I do actually have chess pieces in the joint. So, you know,
Nice.
I can always break out a chess game. I'm genuinely always ready to play chess.
Yeah, maybe we should just do chess streams sometime.
Dude, I mean, you know,
We can just get the top-down angle.
some
you
music,
see it.
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
A couple tables set up.
Mm-hmm.
It'd be a vibe.
Yeah.
It'd be a vibe, actually. A little tournament
be.
action. A little money
Definitely.
on it, you know what I'm saying?
Oh, wow. Okay.
I'll take anybody's money once.
Yeah.
although I you know,
Obi
there's some
versus
people who
Rue.
are really good. Yeah. Some cats that might really be able to take it out.
Hey.
All right, so the first message is from the hornbeam. 41. The hornbeam is trunk and healing wisdom. Strength. The hornbeam stands for strength. It's a message of strength from our ancestors. All these cards came right way up, which is interesting. So the Deva message, which is like specifically what the tree comes to speak to us, comes for us to understand, is I'm one of the four strongest trees. I can help you to withstand the pressures and strains of life so that you grow from the experience and become more secure and confident. Ashe. The hornbeam is prized for its tough wood, which is excellent for, I always get this word wrong, capicing, I don't know, and for making durable tools, such as the cogs for windmills and water mills. The tree is known as ironwood because it blunts a carpenter's tools. Hornbeam is an important tree for creating dense hedging and was once believed to provide shelter for both goblins and murderers. Okay, this is deep now. It just got deep, okay? Keep in mind, this card is speaking to our mind and our past, which is, I think, there's some interesting things being told to us here. Despite this, hornbeam hedges were planted to protect sacred groves, such as those that once existed in the Alps. In the past, the leaves were used to treat wounds and were distilled to create an eye lotion. Right way up, this is a good time for you to work on new ideas, especially ones related to personal projects, and cultivate our creative talents. These will lead you to fresh opportunities, and your renewed enthusiasm will rekindle your passion for life. Ashe. All right, I like this message. So far, the message is consistent with many of the messages actually that I've gotten in my recent 8-day practices since the solar eclipse, which has all been alafia. Literally every single time it's been that.
The peace and prosperity.
Yeah, so I've been through 2 8-day cycles since. That was a Monday, and then I had a Tuesday, and then I had this past Wednesday, and then this is a spontaneous day in the midst of an 8-day cycle. But all of them have been speaking to the same horizon, which is peace and prosperity. And that's the idea. It's an oracle kind of a visit. So let me ask you, in listening to that, to the hornbeam, and understanding what that message was for your mind and in harmony of your mind, and harmonizing your past with your present, what comes up for you? What thoughts? What feelings?
Man, I mean, I think everything that's going on in this room right now is like harmonizing my past and my present in a way.
Tell me more.
Because this room is like somewhat new. I mean, like, and we've been experimenting and doing these different events and shows and stuff in here, and they're all different variations of like things I've done in other places over the last 20 years or so, you know, and even like, you know, we did like tarot and stuff like that. Like,
you did?
Let's
go.
You know, so like that's a part of my history too. So you doing that was kind of like giving me flashbacks and, you know, and I was really into the I Ching for a while.
Okay.
And
that system is actually, I'll let you continue, but that system is actually directly connected to Ifa. This tradition, Ifa, has 256 Odu. I Ching is a 256 system as well. Mathematically, they're very well connected.
Yeah, and it's similar with the shells, like
the way that they throw. It's literally like the same.
It's like
it's creepy how much it's the same because they're all from so many thousands of years ago,
and from different geographies.
Exactly. Yeah. Where technically they weren't really, there wasn't trade, you know, they weren't really, you know, people weren't going, you know, into Eastern Asia from West Africa like that at that time when these systems were developed. But what we, you know, commonly come back to in spiritual circles when we're kind of talking about these things and trying to discover more is the out of Africa theory, right? That all humans come from Africa. And these ancestral traditions have been passed down through oratory, you know, practice and, you know, ancestral generational, you know, kind of spiritual traditions and rituals and whatnot for all of these different generations. So it makes sense that they would have traveled, you know what I mean, from Africa to other places in the world, and that those connections, you know, could be made that way.
Yeah.
Or we could go to the whole alien thing, you know, we could do that.
Like the aliens were like putting it in all different parts at the same time.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you know, we could do that. And there's you know, the Kachinas. That's one of the theories from the ancestral wisdom of the Kachina, the Hopis, which are a tribe from New Mexico. I mean, I could do this all day, but I'll let you go on.
I mean, that's like the pyramids too, right?
Exactly.
Like
yes.
like
so
how did those things pop up at the same places?
Exactly.
Or different places at the same time?
Exactly.
So, I don't know. I don't know anything about that. But
I mean, what's funny is like I don't think any of us know. What we do is, you know, it's like the Socratic method. The one thing that I know is that I know nothing. But there's this kind of intuitive, intrinsic kind of a thing that you're like, what feels right for you? What feels right in your heart and in your mind and your body and your spirit? That kind of thing. Yeah. So you're saying some full circle vibes? That's what it sounds like for you?
Yeah, full circle vibes, and kind of, you know, we created this place to sort of synthesize all of the things that my partner and I do. With the people that we do it with and the neighbors and the, you know, amazing talent that's around us here. And, and I just, I've been going through some like, health issues lately with my teeth and some nerves in my mouth and stuff. And so it's kind of like, I'm thinking about like, you know, you're talking about the 8-day eclipse, and it all kind of started like right around like a few days before the you know, the moon vibes were getting strong.
Okay.
And then it's just like kind of progressively been getting worse.
Oh my gosh.
Not saying that that's like, you know, but the dentists did say that like the moon like has like magnetic pull.
Absolutely.
And
It's
that can
gravitational
affect
pull,
your teeth.
Yeah.
Especially because I have metal fillings.
Yeah.
And so it's like, I was like, oh, so maybe there is something to that.
I mean, it's facts.
Yeah.
The reason the water, you know, in the tides and the thing behind you,
Yeah.
the reason that happens is because of the moon. Like the moon is what makes that happen. It pulls the water around the earth, you know, so like wherever the moon is, the water on our planet is pulling toward it, and that's because of the magnetic force that it has, the gravitational pull.
That's so crazy.
It's deep, man. It's deep. And our ancestors knew some stuff about this. I swear to God, man.
They did, because they paid attention to it.
Wow. Now, that's a good segue, though, into the next card, which is the Baobab.
Yeah.
Because that's about the body, which has to do with your you know, you're like, not necessarily just you know, folks who are watching, you can take this back to your own, you know, kind of experience and integrate these things that you're hearing into your own experience and receive these messages for yourself. But I'm just kind of using Wes as like a guinea pig kind of.
I'm okay with that.
And so if we go to the body, where we're going to talk a little bit more about your present and you know what's going on in your physical experience, right? So the hornbeam, the mind and the past, those are the things that we want to kind of keep centered in that message. Where are we with the baobab, which speaks of survival? So this is interesting. 29. And this is a root wisdom, I believe. Yes, on being, connection with the earth. So the baobab speaks of survival. I am known as the tree of life because I can help people to survive the harshest living conditions. Whenever you call on me, I will give you emotional strength and spiritual sustenance so that you can cope with whatever life brings you. The baobab's remarkable ability to store thousands of gallons of water in the spongy wood of its trunk has saved countless lives in the times of drought. The layer of fiber beneath the bark is used to make rope and cloth. The life-saving qualities of the baobab give it great spiritual significance in Africa and Australia, and is believed to be the gateway to the afterlife. It can live for up to 3,000 years before rotting from the inside and collapsing. Its edible seeds are high in vitamin C, calcium, and protein, so they are a valuable food. Right way up, have faith in the universe's ability to provide you with exactly what you need whenever you need it, and to offer you spiritual protection. Use your resources and your talent to get the most out of every day. Which, if I can just say so myself, my friend, you know, I think you're doing that. You know what I mean? Kind of coming back to what you said with our experience, you know. And for me, you know what I mean, this one really speaks a lot to what my experience has been. This card came up on my solstice reading, back in December. And, whatever. It's been a common theme. It's going to be a common theme until the summer solstice. And for me, in terms of something that I need to pay close attention to. And in my own time, you know, I've had this extremely kind of like overhaul in my life. You know, I moved across the country from Los Angeles. I was trying to find a whole lane, do all of my entrepreneurial pursuits out there. I wasn't able to get into a level playing field for myself, something that was, you know, able to provide for my survival in the way that I needed it to. So I made the decision to come back here, and that wasn't the only factor playing into it, but that was a driving factor for me. And the use of my talents and the use of, you know, all these different things that I've been able to, you know, share with you guys today, this has been a central aspect of what I've come back to do here, right? Is to use this to provide for myself, my survival, my children, so on and so forth, my elders, and kind of carry forward that path. So for me, this card is really, really impactful, specifically for my now, like my moment. It's like I'm rerouting myself back in my, you know, original hometown, literally like across the street from the park that I, you know, grew up playing ball and, you know, all of that stuff, you know, with the homies. So it's very meaningful and impactful for me. I feel very grateful. What about you?
That's amazing.
What comes up for you with the baobab?
Man, I mean, I was just listening to what you were saying about that, just growing up and yeah, so many things. It's
you ain't gotta get too deep if you don't want to. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, it's just cool. It's been a while since I've you know, kind of looked inward like this with divination and so forth. But yeah,
we got friends.
He said, "Lead by example. Lead by what you believe."
Yo, that's deep, yo. No, real talk, because this story came up the other day. There's an old ancestral story that comes up in our in the Orisha wisdom, and it speaks of the Ajay and Obatala, the divinity that I'm a priest of. And Obatala was given this like great power by Olodumare, the creator, to come to earth and to create literally everything that's here, right? So everything you see, the plants, the trees, the animals, us, that's what Obatala was responsible for doing.
Okay.
Olodumare said, yeah, there's this ball of water. I want you to do something with it. Here's some resources, and then I'm going to give you this very, very immense power, which would make you the most powerful being there. And Obatala was given advice to pay homage and respect to the mothers of the Ajay, which are also oftentimes known in the States or in English as the witches. But we have a completely different, perspective and worldview. Our understanding of, kind of good and evil or however like that, it's not like they're pitted against one another. They're integrated with one another, right? The light and the dark are the same ultimately. They're two sides of the same coin, whatever you want to call it. And so the mothers are literally like some of the most powerful beings in the universe, right? I mean, just think about it. Like, your mother is the most powerful force in your life, right? It's the portal with which you came through. You don't you don't get here without that. Yeah. So this is an important power to pay respect to, and Obatala did not. Obatala ignored the advice and did not make the initial sacrifice, and thus pitted himself against the mothers, which was a very, very bad idea. And so ultimately, in his pursuits to come and create the earth and do all of these expansive works here on earth for Olodumare, at the behest of Olodumare, the mothers were messing with him and, tripped him up and made some things happen that made it very difficult for him and made some challenges. So he realized that he needed to get it together. And ultimately, decided to host a big feast for the mothers in their honor. And, then they were like, all right, cool, you cool now, you know what I'm saying? Don't mess up again, that kind of thing. But there's an aspect of this story, I'm telling it in short form, there's an aspect of this story that ties back to a specific part of the Ashe of Obatala. The Ashe of Obatala is this Ashe of purity. So this is why Obatala is the divinity of white cloth. So all white is, what is known as, your image of Obatala. You see Obatala is always depicted in all white. And that represents the purity, and that Obatala and his children and his priests, we are to lead by example. We are to be those, we have king, queen, spirit energy. That's the nature of our Ashe. And we are designed to lead by example. So when we don't do what is right and true or in line with, peace and prosperity, so on and so forth, then we are generally swiftly met with consequences. So when you said that story came up for me recently and things that I've been experiencing in my life as a result of not leading by example, as a result of not walking the path in the way that I should, right? And being humbled as a result. That's so when you said that, it hit right away for me. Like, it just connected, because that's been a key aspect of what I've been heeding on the mat recently for myself.
Well, that's one of the things, is like, that's why we wanted to plant here, because there's always so much inspiration coming from the park, or from the people in the park, or, walking past it. And, you can have a video studio anywhere. Any warehouse, you can do that, but we decided to do it in a storefront across from Washington Park. And it's gives us a lot of inspiration. Yeah,
it's beautiful, man. It's beautiful. I was really happy to see it when I got back. I was like, oh, what? Around the corner from the spot? Let's go. I'll be over there.
So did you grow up right over here, or did you grow up
I was born in Milwaukee. And then 6 months after I was born, and at that time we lived right over in Dahmerville. That's what I call it. Right over by where I went to high school of the arts. That's where Jeffrey Dahmer's little stomping grounds were. Oh, okay. Man, what a crazy time. And the reason I bring that up is because one of my godmothers, shouts out to Iagan, Ifatola, she lived, right around the corner, and I think we were staying with her during this little time frame that my mom was up here. And my dad was down in Chicago. I don't know exact, because I was a baby. I don't know the exact story. But when I was born, my mom was here in Milwaukee. And I think she was doing Afro Fest because I was born in August. She was doing African World Festival. Do you remember that festival?
Mm-hmm.
They don't do it anymore. But so I was due to be born on 8/8/88. That's when I was due to be born. And I'm an Obatala child. 8 is Obatala's number. This was a major thing. Okay, this was a whole numerological phenomenon in my family. I ended up coming on the 10th though, and yeah.
I think maybe there's some food.
Oh, you got some snacks? Okay. I lost my train of thought. What were we talking about? Will you ask me a question?
You were talking about
The story, right?
Yeah.
So I was born then, right? And then 6 months after we moved to Chicago. So I spent my first 6 years of life there, and then we moved to the South Side for a little bit of Milwaukee, and then we came here when I was 9. So I started living around the corner here when I was 9, and then I was there for to my adult years. So I spent most of my childhood, like the majority of it, here, right across the street.
Nice.
Yeah.
And you said you used to hoop at the courts over there?
Oh yeah, I still do.
Yeah.
You see me over there.
Oh. Yeah.
There's 2 things I always have with me: this chessboard and divination kit. So I'm ready to do a divination or play chess any day, any moment, anytime. Hit me up. I got you. And I also have a basketball with me all the time. So I will give you this work. And I got shoes and shorts. I'm ready to play whenever. I'm very, very energetic about basketball.
Well, that's good to know because I'm also a hooper
Oh,
myself.
well, let's go then.
Yes.
Wes. I mean, it's a little rainy right now.
I mean, our logo even kind of looks like a basketball net. I don't know if you caught that.
Yeah.
Basketball
Vibes.
Yeah, I love having the courts right across the street. I always kind of am like,
Do you go over and play?
Yeah.
The only thing I don't like about those courts, I mean, there's obviously like uneven ground, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, well, the people online don't know. These courts have a very distinct, it's like on one half they're like a little bit too low, and on the other half they're a little bit too high. And I think it's like
and they're
slight
not even
slope.
full courts. They're like miniature full court. It's weird.
Yeah,
they're like 3/4 of a court.
Yeah.
It's weird. Like, it's just weird. There's 2 half
short.
courts. I don't even think that you can call them half courts.
And it's funny because there's enough space that you could have if they went the other direction or something. Like there's plenty.
Look at that park. It's huge. It used to be a zoo. That park used to be a zoo, man.
Yes, it did.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
So anyhow, but I do like playing over there. You
Yeah.
know, I've always liked playing out on the streets, but I prefer to play, like in the inside, on some courts, like
gym.
I don't know where to do that out here. So since I've been back,
I can tell you where. So I like to play over at Running Rebels.
Where's that at?
That's on. Well, there's 2 of them. It's a community center. There's one on Fond du Lac, and then there's one on Capitol.
Okay.
And the one on Capitol by like Beer Line Trail. If you're new back in town, maybe you don't know what that is.
Sound familiar.
Yeah.
I mean, I know Capitol, I know Fond du Lac, but
Yeah.
Beer Line Trail doesn't sound right.
Beer Line Trail. It's like Harambe.
Oh, actually, I do know what you're talking about.
Yeah. Okay. Yep. And it's like this cool like art park corridor that they've been working on for a while. And they put in a new Running Rebels over there that has like a really fancy gym, and it's really nice.
Nice. Okay.
And yeah, so I play with some dudes there.
Okay.
And yeah, I can loop you in on it
what
if
are
you're
your strengths
interested.
on the court? I'm curious.
Well, my dad referred to me as a 3-point assassin.
I knew it was gonna be your 3-point. I knew it was gonna be a 3-point. I'm like, this man got a step back. I can see the step back. I can see it in my eyes already.
Man, if I really could have perfected that step back, I probably would have played in college. But the step back is hard.
It is not easy. Yeah.
It's because you're not putting your full.
The defender.
Right. You're like,
yeah.
But when you can stick that step back, it's like
when you can get the distance, and if you can add a crossover to it, you can be dangerous. You can be dangerous.
You go.
We got a great player on the Bucks. You know what I'm saying? Lillard, that man knows how to step it back, man.
Yeah. Speaking of which, I wonder if the Bucks are.
They playing
I think they're playing tonight in the playoffs. Yeah.
Let's go. The Lakers been getting rubbed. All right, we got one more card.
So this has been a wide-ranging episode today. Going from beats to electronic, whatever that was, to spiritual divination. to sports.
Sports. Yeah. I mean, we're talking about the
Neighborhood.
body, right?
I mean, that's this neighborhood. You know, it's got all of that.
It has everything for you. Yeah, Martin Drive, baby. Martin Drive neighborhood.
Martin Drive.
Okay, so the last card is the card for spirit in the future. And this one is the olive. The olive comes from, let's see here. This is seed power. 68. There we go. Sanctity. Oh, okay, yeah. Remember earlier I was talking about the sanctity of peace?
Yeah.
This is the card that speaks to that. The olive branch is a universal symbol of peace. So let me show you how to create a greater sense of harmony in your own life and to invest in all your actions with the sanctity and significance. The olive tree literally occupies a central position in the ancient Greek mythology because wait, hold on. I read that wrong. Because a special tree, believed to be the mother tree of all olives, was planted in the Eretrium, I think that's pronounced, within the Acropolis in Athens. Remarkably, what is thought to be a descendant of that tree still grows there. The oil pressed from the original tree's fruit was burnt continually in a consecrated lamp placed next to the tree, and olive oil is still a constituent of holy oil in a variety of religions. The medicinal uses of olive oil include lowering blood pressure and reducing abdominal spasms. Right way up, create a small area in your home that is sacred to you, decorate it with special objects, and spend time there each day, either sitting quietly in contemplation or meditating. Honor this space and keep it special. Simple. The message has been so consistent with that one, and it falls in the spirit placement. It's fallen in the spirit placement probably 4 or 5 times in my recent cycles of divination. It was definitely a key piece on the solar eclipse, which started a whole cycle for me in terms of what I'm supposed to be focused on in my own teachings of spirituality, which is the sanctity of peace. So that whole message I delivered before when we were talking before, that comes from a specific aspect of my teachings that I'm focused on right now, which is really something I do with restorative justice practices. Are you familiar with restorative justice or transformative justice?
A little bit. Why don't you tell me about it?
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, what it is a practice that started out in indigenous traditions, and it brings us into circle. So it's been like kind of, let's say, rediscovered, right? And it's become useful in our legal community now, where many district attorneys are using restorative justice practices now to do things like youth diversion. So like we have youth that get into trouble, instead of sending them to juvie, we use restorative justice practices to, create a resolution for that confrontation, that conflict, and create more harmony around that person and the community around them. And the way it works is you take facilitators like myself or other people who've trained in the practice, and you do intake. So what we do is we meet with people. Let's say there's a conflict with some individuals in a community, right? Let's say, some kid comes by and throws a brick through your window, right? And then you catch the kid, right? You call the cops or whatever, But instead of deciding to press charges or whatever, you reach out to someone like me and you say, let's handle this as a community, right? Which you'd be well positioned to do, right? Based on the way that you relate with the community. And so that child would be considered a primary stakeholder in this circumstance. And then you would be too, right? So that person caused harm to you. But we know that there's something underneath that. We know that pain perpetuates pain, right? So we know that there's probably something that child needs.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
In order to cultivate more peace in their own life and experience, and more harmony in their own life and experience, so that they don't throw bricks through windows.
Right.
Pretty simple, logic. So what they do is they get to choose people in their community that are other stakeholders in their life to come to circle with the facilitators, and so do you. So you get to bring your business partner, or maybe other people, maybe Pat, other people that are, members of the community, brother, mother, sister, cousin, anybody you think should be a part of the circle. And then we create a circle, and in that circle, we have facilitators, the primary stakeholders, their support system, all encircled together, which offers us the ability to have a conversation about what went wrong, what needs to be changed, what we do to harmonize, to resolve the harm that was created, right? Because there does need to be some action taken. And we are able to cultivate multiple perspectives. So you have many different vantage points rather than it just be you against them, right? And some judge or some sort of, judgment kind of force adjudicating who's right, who's wrong, who wins. And it's this very dichotomous, punitive kind of a way of resolving the issue. We go a different route. We believe that punishment just creates more pain, right? It just perpetuates the cycle of pain. And that's the whole idea, is we're trying to exit that. So what we do in restorative justice is we're in circle. We create the container together. So everybody that's in circle has been a part of intake with the facilitators. So they get prepared for what it means to be in circle. They get to have their voice and their perspective on the matter at hand, seen and taken into account in intake. So the facilitators already have in mind for everybody that's in circle what's going to come out, right? We done already talked to everybody. We done got notes. We got the whole thing, so we know what the nature of this discourse is most likely going to be like. And then from there, we're able to cultivate the conversation. And when we come together, we create the container together. So we decide what we are all going to do, what rules we're going to abide by, what boundaries are we going to set, how we're going to respect one another, right? We don't speak over one another. We don't yuck each other's yum, right? Just because something's true for you and I don't necessarily agree with it doesn't mean that I have to, that you have to take my truth as your own, and so on and so forth. Many things can be true at once. Many truths can exist in one space at once. And what it does is it creates this natural kind of organic conversation where people come to remorse in a much more natural fashion. People start to hear the testimony of others that maybe aren't the primary stakeholder. It's not just you are harmed, right? You get to say your piece, right? We'll probably start with you because it was your window that was broken. You know what I mean? In this hypothetical.
Yeah.
But then we move to the kid, right? Figure out what's going on with him.
Right.
Right. And then we learn about what's going on in their time and their experience. And most likely we uncover things. And then the community gets to talk about those things together. And you get to see the human in them. They get to see the human in you. We all get to see the human in one another and come to our common humanity and come to a resolve together. That's really how it's operating.
I like that.
Yeah. It's a beautiful system.
I tend to have that type of wish when if something bad happens to me, it's not a bad thing, but like about a year ago, I was out. I was playing basketball actually, and I wanted to film a shot with my drone, and so I had set my basketball down, and some kids took my basketball, and I was like, oh well, they need it more than I do,
Right.
And I'm like, but I didn't think, some people might get mad, upset, you stole my thing, but it's no, they needed that ball.
That demonstrates, that you kind of intrinsically found your way to what is an action of preserving the sanctity of peace, right? That would have been the same thing Jesus would have done. Jesus would have told you to do that same thing, right? They needed it more than you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not about that. That's very much so what his word was.
Yeah.
And so anybody who's Christian and a follower of Jesus would respect that what you did is something that preserves the sanctity of peace, because you could have caused a confrontation. You were harmed, you had right to.
Well, yeah, and I guess that's part of, because that's how I was raised, I suppose. But
Well done.
But I also
well done, Wes's parents.
Well done. Nice job, Becky and Chuck. But I guess I brought it up because what I would really like is to have a conversation with that kid.
Yes.
And I'd like to be like, hey, so you like to play basketball,
play
what?
Together.
Yeah, why don't we play? Why don't we get a game going? Let's.
You can't afford a ball right now. We can share, bro.
Yeah, I'll play you for it.
Right. Or
No.
Look, man, I'm not gonna be at the courts, but if you live nearby,
right,
and you want to go to the courts, I got a ball.
Mm-hmm.
Can I borrow your ball real quick?
Yeah.
Well, I think about the way we grew up as kids too. You see this in kids we saw it back in the day, and I see it in some of the kids now. My kids have demonstrated this, and it's something that they came to organically. And so I don't try to take credit for it, but I'm sure, me and my two ex-wives, their mothers, had, had an influence on them, right, in their community, right, the elders in our community and whatnot, where kids oftentimes will come to these same concepts just on their own, where they're out in the park, something happens, like they're playing football or whatever, there's a gaggle of them out there, and somebody gets into it, right? Somebody hits somebody too hard or whatever. We're not playing tackle. You tackle me. We're just playing touch, blah, 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 whatever, right? Something gets out of hand. This is normal. And then the kids will literally circle up, and you'll hear all the kids start to try and, like, solve the problem together. And generally there's, like, leaders that emerge, ones whose voices are for some reason or another respected by the rest of the kids more than others.
Right.
And then they find a way to create peace, and then they go back to playing ball. I mean, when I was a kid, I was a part of many of those circumstances on this block, you know what I mean, with people that still live on this block, like, that I see all the time.
Wow.
So it's natural to us, I guess, is what I'm saying, to really be that way. What's conditioned into us are the punitive practices. That's what's conditioned into us.
Yeah.
And that just comes, through the nature of our warmongering, social order. But I'm not going to go down that line because I could, and we'd be here for another 2 hours.
Well, yeah. I mean, I think we can probably wrap up here.
Yeah, man.
This has been a lot of fun.
Ashe.
Obi, thanks for coming by.
Yeah, man. I'm happy to do it, man. Happy to do it.
Would love to do it again, and maybe what I think what I really love, and I mean, this is just my technology equipment, which sometimes can go awry, but I would love for you to be in here with some other, like, actual musicians.
Yeah, dude.
Just jamming out, and then I could focus on the camera stuff.
But
there were supposed to be some tonight.
They were supposed to
It was
come.
a rainy
One of
night.
them got tied up, and then the other one was in Japan.
Dang. Yeah, we could have Skyped him in, but that's okay.
I didn't think about
that. No. But yeah, I mean, that would be fun, to just get some neighborhood jams going on in here.
Neighborhood jams.
And
anybody wants to do neighborhood jams, holla at us.
I'm actually glad this happened though, because I haven't done one like this where we're like just talking.
Okay.
Because I think I kind of like tend to feel like when we're doing a live stream or we're doing a show, it's like, oh, it's all going to be all about music and stuff. But like, it's kind of nice to just get more podcast vibe, more like just conversational.
Let it flow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hopefully the people online like it.
It'll grow organically like that too.
Yeah.
I'm with it, man. I'm with it. And look, dude, I'm always down for a conversation. I'm a talker, if you haven't noticed.
Yeah. Definitely. You got a lot to say.
I do. My ancestors sent me with plenty things to say in a very loud voice.
Yeah, and I think the ancestors knew that needed to happen tonight, and that's why they got in the gears there. Yeah. A little bit of this thing in there, but
this has kind of been like an amalgamation of all the different stuff that I do too. Like music, divination, like all of it, podcasting. Like I do all this stuff. And so it kind of just happened to kind of converge on the same 3-hour space.
Yeah, totally. And so you are a priest now, or you are in training of?
No, so I've been a priest my whole life.
You've been a priest.
It's kind of crazy because both my parents were priests. So my mom was 10 years into the practice when I was born. And so in our tradition, when you're born of two practicing priests that were already, well into their practice, and they were already initiating other priests by then, so they had already become godparents and whatnot, you have the natural ashe of the Orisha in you when you're born, so that you're considered to be what's called an Orisha priest at that time. So I was born into the priesthood. And we do divination at the time of birth to understand what your path, your purpose, and your destiny should look like and what you should be considering as you go. So your parents, basically raise you right. This is directly from the ancestors. So for me, it was like, this one's going to be a priest. Get him ready.
Wow.
Get him ready now. Okay. So because I grew up in a temple, I started training in the priesthood. I learned, all the rituals and everything like that from a very young age. I was probably like 4 or 5, especially when I first started on the djembe, and I was able to practice and play in the ritual spaces and the ceremonies and whatnot. And then I became a hand where I would assist with rituals and everything like that for the things that were happening on a regular basis at the temple. And then when I was 16, I was initiated into the priesthood, which was 20 years ago, where then I became a service priest. So rather than just being an Orisha priest, I was a consecrated priest of Obatala, which involved many of the rites and rituals that I had already learned, and then many more that I needed to continue learning and growing my knowledge and wisdom, which never ends. It's a lifetime thing. But that was 20 years ago, so that I entered into the service aspect of the priesthood. So, yeah, man, I've been doing this joint.
Wow.
The whole time I've been a priest, brother.
That's awesome. That's really interesting.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for sharing your talents here.
Ashe.
And,
Yeah, Ashe.
yeah, well, let's do it again sometime soon.
Yeah, man. And if I can, I'll close this out with one.
Yeah.
There's like a mantra that I use for my temple Ilenia,
Okay.
which means house for humanity. Because I'm an Obatala priest, I'm interested in serving any and everyone that is a human, is part of our collective. And the messages of our temple is very simple. I am loving to myself and others. I am kind to myself and others. I am honest with myself and others. I am respectful to myself and others. And I am in service to myself and others. Those are the main principles, my core values of the temple, to help us understand, like, if we guide with those things, you can't miss. You'll be all right. Ashe.
Ashe.
Let the church say amen.
All right. Thanks, Obi. Thanks, everybody.
Yo.
Thanks, everybody in the chat. See you all. See you on the other side of time.